Are you interested in learning from a couple of guys who were marketing directors at dealerships for about 20 years before launching a firm that is becoming best known for helping dealerships with consistency across platforms, across marketing messages, and dialing in their brand? You're in the right place if that's what you want to hear, because I've got Justin and Ben from Agile Creative Solutions, who I came across by reputation. A couple of dealerships, groups that I worked with that had really sharp branding that was really consistent across all their stores, pointed to these guys as their secret to keeping the consistency and staying on top of a lot of their marketing initiatives. So without any further ado, Justin and Ben with Agile Creative Solutions. Well, Justin and Ben, I'm happy to have you both here. We started to do this before we started recording, but could you guys do just maybe like a quick intro for how you guys started Agile and where you guys met?
Sure, go ahead, Justin. I'll let you start us off here.
Yeah, so Ben and I have been working together now for almost 20 years. We got our start in the automotive industry back in 2004, 2005 at a large, successful Toyota dealership outside of Boston. We formed our first digital marketing agency in 2011 that was a true dealer-to-dealer digital marketing agency, grew that business, and then ultimately launched Agile Creative Solutions, a boutique digital marketing agency in 2021.
Very cool. And what put you guys on my radar is like in our line of work, kind of like you guys, we've had an opportunity to talk with countless dealers, like thousands of dealerships, about their pain points and what can we do to be creative to help them from our end. And I'm always asking them, like, what are you guys doing right now that's working really well? Like, what's helping solve some of these problems? What have you guys tested out that didn't work well? What are some other solutions or vendors or products that have been helpful? And then, like, if you weren't kind of like allocating your energy and time over here and money over here, what would you try to check out? What would you think would be interesting? And Chris Fusek and another dealer, like a couple people who I listened to and I talked with for a while, who I really started to grow a lot of respect for the way that they look at their business and look at their industry, mentioned you guys. And I'm like, okay, can you bridge an introduction and just hear, like, I'd love to hear what they're up to. And what Chris had said is like, no, we've got these guys. They're not huge, but they're really good. Like, they're really specific and they've nailed our brand across the board and consistency with what we're doing in an industry where there's a lot of inconsistencies and like puzzle pieces that don't fit together. Does that feel accurate? Does that feel like an accurate description of kind of where you guys have honed out your niche?
I think so, yeah. I mean, really, in many instances, we really like to see ourselves as the marketing arm of our dealership clients. And it's particularly true for Village Automotive Group outside of Boston. Chris Fosik is the director of sales for them, as you just noted. So we've been partnered with Village for many years. And even just for example, this was last week, one of their stores, Honda Village, celebrated its 50th anniversary, and we were in attendance of that celebration event, celebrating with them, conversing with them. I think we were the only kind of vendor partner that was there as part of that event. May have been the only one invited to it. So, but really we see ourselves as an extension of our dealership clients. Maybe it sounds a little bit cliche, but it's genuinely the truth. And so having that relationship and really understanding who they are as a dealership, how they want to position themselves, how they wish to brand themselves, really who they are, what makes them tick, and how they should position themselves, present themselves to their clients and customer base. That's really what we aim to do and really where we feel we excel, for sure.
And it's tricky. Like, it's tricky to keep that level of understanding of customers as you methodically grow and not just ramp up a zillion dealers and then become like commoditized, cheap cost per click. That's been my experience. It's like, okay, at some point you're going to start losing that human touch, and just like it sounds like being a little ingrained in the culture of the group. where you know about the 50th anniversary, even, much less be there, much less help, cater some marketing efforts around it, and, go be on site and get creative with some ideas to make it meaningful for their customers. But it sounds like, so like, with getting all the creative running, getting the marketing arm, where are you guys finding like your time is best spent with your dealers? Like what areas?
I mean, I think it's having conversations with them and having the partnership be collaborative. So, with the business, we've intentionally kept it on the smaller side, so it can be very hands-on and very boutique. And I think, the best partnerships that we have are with those clients that are most engaged. So being able to collaborate with them and really understand what's important on a monthly basis and really be able to kind of help them tell their story. So it's not just all about price, price, price.
Yeah. Um, is there like is there something right now that you're hearing from a lot of the dealers that's a pain point for them that they're struggling with?
So, I mean, I think on an operational standpoint, sales specifically, used car acquisition kind of has been and maybe continues to be. Um, I think for most brands, kind of, new car inventory, those inventory levels going back a year and a half, 2 years, right, in the inventory shortage. That's kind of worked its way out, resolved itself in most instances. So I think used car acquisition continues to be a challenge, in that market too is very dynamic. That sort of price sensitivity there, acquisition costs versus the retail pricing, margins that are there. So I think generally speaking, you're kind of seeing a little bit of a contraction with margins, both on new and used sales. But also then making sure that service and fixed operations, that when and where you can, margins are healthy, while at the same time still providing really good value to customers. So I think that's kind of where we see some of the challenges and issues operationally. I think also staffing, when I was noting, say, fixed ops, I think hiring, finding quality technicians, and staff in general, but specifically technicians within service bay, service drives, continues to be a challenge. I know that you, Andrew, are working closely with Justin and one of our other clients on a campaign to address that, and are doing quite well there. So those are two kind of challenges that I see kind of top of mind.
Yeah, and it's tricky. Like it's interesting too, like as you were just mentioning, like, a lot of time having instructive, consultative conversations with dealers, but also having it revolved around strategy and sure clicks and visibility and, view through attribution and whatever digital marketing can look at. But it's like, what meaningful things can the marketers do to help with what's going on at the dealership? So like right now, like I've heard a handful of dealers have issues with tech recruiting, and it's kind of like hurting their CSI score. It's hurting their customer
Mm.
loyalty rate of people purchasing and ending up coming back in for services, because it takes 2 weeks or 2 months to schedule services. Um, and so it's like, okay, this is kind of cool. Here's an opportunity for like your team and my team to like be able to put our heads together and say, here's a real problem. What can we do from our end to like be creative to help out? Okay, let's buy data of people who went to trade school, or let's target other dealerships, and let's do lead generation, or let's try to flow people through the website where they can go through the application. And is it working? Okay, now we're getting the traffic, but it's not converting. Can we spiff it with sign up bonus? And I think this is cool. This is where it moves marketing back to what marketing's always been, and it's not just clicks. It's not just let's get the cheapest VDP views, but it's like, let's actually talk about who we're going to market to, what we're going to say, how we're going to track them. Now it's making an impact on our loyalty. Now it's making an impact on our customer scores, and it's a lot more nuanced than just being a provider that's getting cheap VDP views. Is there something else that you're finding with hiring that's been helping at all from what you guys are doing?
You're saying for our dealer clients, some other
Yeah.
initiatives? I
Yeah.
think well, I think the video content that we put together for Lexus of Watertown was impactful, and getting those folks that have worked there for a long time, even folks that haven't been there for a long time, maybe just a few years, to talk about their experience working at the store, having that live on the website. We always say with video creation, it doesn't have to be a Hollywood production, right? The authenticity is key. So, the dealership shot 3 or 4 videos, sent those over. We took a stab at editing them. They live on the careers page. Your team pulled out some sound bites as well. So, in the way that those were sort of baked into the ad itself, I thought was really clever. So I think anytime you can use video to kind of tell your story and promote your message, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and this maybe applies a little bit less to, say, service technicians, in part because of the technical expertise required there. But for a number of other positions, in many instances, we've encouraged our dealerships to consider their own customer base as a source for potential job applicants and employees. And so, in a number of instances, we've campaigned and targeted the customer base to let them know that the dealership is hiring for various positions. And yeah, that has worked really well, and hires have come as a result of that. So there's kind of one little tip there, maybe for some of the dealers that are listening here is, yeah, consider your own customer base as a potential source of job applicants. They know you, love you, have done business with you. Perhaps they'd like to work for you. So
That's
That's not a
genius.
bad.
I love
Yeah.
it.
yeah,
And like something that I've experimented with too is like, let's get the right audience, whether it's like the customers or people that went to these schools, and then like maybe their network would be a good fit. So let's try to prompt them with like, do you know somebody who's looking for a new service tech position? Or do you know somebody who'd be a great fit for XYZ? To like, hopefully, if you're not exactly the right person, somebody in your orbit might be. And then you can share that message, or you can start helping us market that role for us.
You
And you
could
said you
also,
go ahead, Justin.
I just wanted to add to what Ben was saying. It's not on the digital front, but often it's forgotten is it's go to the in-store opportunities. So, there's quite a bit of in-store print that we do, even though we're a digital agency, where there's a particular program or there's an incentive, and you have a lot of foot traffic coming in for service in the showroom. So don't forget to make use of your brick and mortar as well, to promote those sort of career opportunities or special offers or why buy message, et cetera.
Yeah, I've seen some dealers that we've worked with do like some really cool stuff with print, like with print, whether it's direct mail or especially like with customers coming through the service department where they have like some full-time people that are putting the vehicle offers on their dashboard in a very elegant way of, thank you for coming by for services. We're really interested in buying your vehicle. Here's what we think it's worth. And then people do a U-turn sometimes and just come back in and start the process over of buying a new vehicle. They get another trade in. And it kind of like starts with somebody like you guys, like coming in and helping, bring that idea to the table, and then bringing it to fruition. Because sure, it's easy to just sit at home and behind your computers do digital stuff, but there's a lot of in-store stuff that is a little bit more guerrilla that works, that is
Yeah.
easily overlooked, I think.
Yeah, because
yeah,
even like I'd say with Village Automotive, that's one thing that they also do with all their events is, all the stores have easels. There's like this, gator board style poster, hardback poster. So exactly what you see on the website matches the in-store experience. You get that consistency, that continuity from online to in-store. They have tabletop displays for kind of all the events that they do, and it's really smart. So that customer, regardless of where they saw the event, it's consistent each and every time.
yeah. As a kind of piggybacking on what you're noting here, Justin, again, continuation with Village, and we have many more clients than just Village, but so far it's been maybe the group to discuss here. But we're talking with their McLaren store. the other day and talking about, right, maybe some within the service drive, used car acquisition, how do we maybe present this? And discussing digital strategies, but then looking at print, because as we were talking, and I think personally, in the case of kind of the ultra luxury, I mean, how many times have you purchased some sort of real luxury good where it's very the item you get, and then the fit and finish, the packaging around it, there's something very tactile there. There's a tangible thing you're looking at to help this is a very different item from anything else you could have purchased. And it's virtually impossible to kind of do that digitally, right? You want to be able to tangibly hold something. So we were talking about, right, if we're to design some sort of kind of tangible print piece or whatever it might be, what does that look like? What does that feel like to present true kind of ultra luxury that, with pixels, you just can't quite do. So looking at kind of all things digital and then traditional as well, and having that right sort of strategy and mix and understanding, right, what is the message, what's the audience, and how do we tailor accordingly.
And like when you're talking about like going after the customer base of the dealership, what's like what I like is it's like we're not introducing the dealership. They already know you. They've already purchased from you before. Like, what are some things that you guys are doing? Like, what channels are you guys using to get back in front of them?
You're saying in terms of just all marketing or email marketing?
Yeah, like is it email, direct mail?
It's I don't think we're not really doing any direct mail. I think we've maybe designed to help clients. Again, it's about the consistency and the continuity, right? So we might help with a direct mail piece or personalize it. There's a dealer group in New Jersey, the Prestige Collection, and they have 2 Volvo stores, Polestar, Lincoln, and they just developed an off-site service center. They wanted to develop a why service message. They work with Epsilon. Epsilon needed help to like personalize that direct mail piece, so we assisted in that way. But through email marketing, I mean, again, ensuring that the offers that are online are matched identically in the email campaign. The email is fully responsive, looks great in every mail client. It gets delivered. So we're doing a lot of testing there, typically using the dealership CRM to campaign those audiences. And then, we work quite a bit with the dealership's SEM provider from like a consultative standpoint to make sure the ad copy promotes the event for that month. The lease offers are represented as headlines and those model specific ad groups. So again, that consistency everywhere with that promotion and that message.
I wish that there was more dealerships that had people like you guys that were kind of helping grease things that way, of making sure that the right hand knows what the left hand is doing, because it's easy for each one to be in a little silo. And then there's different reports that look wildly different that a dealer's like, I guess like this is what our competitor did. They used this vendor and they beat us last month. So now we're doing but just to be like, okay, here's from this, not long conversation, but from a 11-minute conversation with the dealership, here's what it sounds like is on your radar this month with Black Friday coming up, and with with the market conditions, with your inventory levels. Here's some things I want to do, some initiatives. Let me make sure that the vendors have this on their radar, and here's the font and the design stuff, just so it looks the same. So if we're going after our customer base, it's like it looks the same in your news feed, in your stories, in your inbox, in your mailbox, in your SMS, to where it's like, okay, if there's one thing that they know about us this month, it's that we're doing a vehicle buyback push and a Black Friday discount on all remaining 2024s. And it's like, I think it's so possible, but it's really challenging for a dealer to be able to execute that and keep that, consistency between vendors. And I like that. That's like one thing when I first started talking with you guys, I'm like, dang, this is it. Like, this is the level of service that I think a lot of vendors can be able to provide if they start working together.
For sure. Yeah. That sort of consistency and coordinated approach. And I think some dealerships, a lot of dealerships maybe, understand that, but in terms of kind of executing and implementing, and I think what can happen in maybe some instances is they might partner with a provider who says, I can do all of that, or we do offer all of those services. And so you just need to let us know that thrust or whatever is that focus, and we'll kind of take care of it from there with all of these channels. But it's, no one can be the best at every single thing, as we well know. And so we like to be able to have our dealer clients, encourage them to consider folks like yourself, other providers who have a real core competency at a particular service, or here's what we do, or maybe the few things we do, and we do them exceptionally well. And then piecing all of those providers together, and then being, for the dealership, kind of responsible for making sure all of those vendors are aware of what is the thrust, what is the focus, where should they direct their efforts, and then let them really kind of, leverage their expertise and maximize the results there from that. So that, I think, really encouraging dealerships to not think about, to gain sort of consistency and cohesive messaging, the need to use a single provider. In fact, it's using providers who are really experts in their given field, and then setting yourself up either internally or with a consultancy or an agency like ourselves, who can then ensure that those vendors are all on the same page. That's really what we recommend and suggest dealers do, versus let me just get that one vendor who says they can do everything for me. Andrew, are you there, or did
I think he's frozen, but I totally love that. When I was at Germain, we worked with a marketing agency similar to you guys, and everything was so cohesive and on brand, down to the font. So I love that. Keeping that all together is so hard for so many people, because they just don't have all those pieces in place to be able to pull those levers and say, here, this is what we need. And, the agency is going to do it and coordinate with all the other vendors.
Yeah, it is a challenge for sure. And, you guys at Germain were familiar with Sean, with NIF. Who I think is with NCM now, but prior was, there with you at Germain, and know just, what sort of operation and group you guys are, what Germain was. Fortunate to have you and NIF there. So, and not all dealerships, particularly, independent, smaller ones, or maybe one or two stores, challenging to structurally feel like they can accomplish that. But we're here to say you absolutely can. And it's really in your best interest too. So looks like maybe Andrew is back here.
There's a house under construction a couple doors down from me, and I don't know what just happened, but I'm on whatever. I'm on hotspot now. Do I look okay as far as like
great.
Okay, I feel good.
Yeah, you look better than excellent.
Sorry about that, but I cut out when you were just talking about just getting the brand to have a consistency, and not you can go with a one-stop shop where it could oftentimes end up pretty cookie cutter and a lack of creativity, versus having like somebody like you that can help kind of control the strategy and control the dials, working with like specialists.
Yeah, in the 20 plus years that Justin and I have been doing this, the best providers we've come across, wish to partner with, recommend, etc., are folks like yourself that really have a core expertise in one or two areas, and just are able to really deliver in that given field. And combining all of those providers together, and then amplifying the results.
So is there anything specific on your radar, like moving into next year, going towards an ADA, changing an administration, anything that's popped up that's kind of catching your dealer's attention or your attention?
I mean, I think that, the big thing is AI, and having AI, handle your incoming sales calls and service calls, and assist your dealerships with communicating with their customers. It's kind of funny, even some of the sales managers at some of the dealerships are, you can tell like they're using AI when they communicate with me, and we're just emailing about offers, but like, it's like clearly AI wrote this, and you're talking to the dealer principal, and they're like, why are they using AI to communicate with you? But there's that, and there's a product our friend Todd Smith has developed, this company Core AI, Core AI, and we were looking at that recently. I thought that was very interesting, where he's able to kind of pull all of your customer data within his dashboard using AI. And I think he also uses Experian as well to group these folks. You can ask certain questions of the data, put those folks in a certain bucket, campaign them through email, through social, through text, or what have you. That was pretty interesting. So I think like kind of all things AI as it continues to develop on a daily or maybe minute by minute basis.
I think that is like the coolest application of AI right now in our business. It's not necessarily like coming up with ad copy, and there's some automation and machine learning for deploying ad campaigns, but the actual application to help dealers and especially the consultative vendors that are working with the dealers find and hone in on information quicker, and be able to have a further downstream conversation with dealers based on AI's interpretation of data, and it's Experian data. It's what people are driving, credit scores in their market, sizes of audiences, and here's a suggestion to have that conversation with the dealer, but also how to deploy things on top of what you're reading. What was the name of that company?
It was Core AI, Core AI, and Todd Smith, I believe, is the founder.
Okay.
And so Todd's a great guy. We met him years ago. He used to run Active Engage, the chat text service. That was many years ago. But he's developed this product, and we have a client in Southern California that we work with. One of the stores, they have multiple stores as part of the group, but they're going to be rolling out for all of their stores, I believe, the beginning of the year, Core AI. And the thing is, though, and we're actually working with Todd actively on this, the client wants to generate an email campaign. It's like, what do they do then or there? Because that particular company, they're not marketers. They're helping you with the data, to segment the data, but then you need to find an agency to help, create the email campaign or the message behind it. So we're kind of actively working with him on that as well, building a library of templates. But it's a very, very cool product.
Yeah, but it was interesting, as you're noting, using, so Todd's using AI to really be able to crunch that data and find, the right type of audience, help the dealership find the right type of audience to campaign to. But then when it comes to the message, which is kind of where maybe in some instances, right, you kind of think maybe using AI in terms of crafting that sort of message, and it almost in some ways feel logical to use AI to define the audience and now help you shape the message. But Todd said, no, I really still want someone like yourself, Ben and Justin, to help with the messaging that's there. So kind of using AI selectively and in a way that makes sense, but still understanding the sort of messaging and still that sort of kind of human to human type communication and messaging, and having us help him craft that. We thought, when we thought about it further, it's like, that does make a lot of sense, Todd. So we look forward, as Justin's noting, to helping him kind of continue to develop his product.
Okay, I'm super fascinated about like this area that you guys are talking about and what he's working on, because it's not too dissimilar from the platform that we've developed, and from the same CDPs that a lot of other companies have started developing. But being able to have like a simple prompt that overlays all the data, so you can simply say, pull up all my customers who still live in my city, who purchase from me, who aren't doing services.
Mm-hmm.
Boop. and now here's a list of 7,000 people. And so that's not super expensive for us to market to on display or on social, or maybe even like direct, like, but for it to be able to pop that up quickly, and deploy things. And then like, something I'm finding on like the messaging side and the creative aspect of whether it's like design or especially like copywriting, but like, what's his name? Scott Meyer. He used to own Nine Clouds. That was like a marketing agency in automotive. He got out and now all he does is AI, like trying to make it more accessible for people. And he's got a cool approach where like his analogy is like the prompting is just like a sandwich where the bread is the AI, and then the meat in the middle is the AI, and the bread is you, where you're coming up with a good prompt saying, here's what you are, here's what I'm trying to find out, ask me questions until you feel comfortable about giving me this answer. And then the machine does the stuff, but then at the bottom, you're the bread again, where you're editing. So you still go in and you make sure like that could give you jar you in a direction for an idea for some ad copy or creative, or like a fun way to do a buyback event at the dealership that came up with ideas for posters and ideas for table displays and handouts and things you put in vehicles at the service department. But you just kind of take that and use that as gearing some ideas. I kind of like the idea of just like, where to apply you as the human to the AI. And something else about like the product you guys are, that product that helps to crunch the data. Are you finding dealers will get on and start to mess with it themselves? Or are they expecting you guys to do it? Or expecting the vendor to do it for them?
Yeah, so it's still early on with that dealer group that I was mentioning in Southern California. They're going to launch at the beginning of the year, and we may have an opportunity to kind of play around more with the product at that time. We had another client look at it last week and think about the application of that for his business. So we can't say in this moment that we have clients that are using it. I think it's still early for them too. I think they have less than 100 rooftops in total. But we're pretty excited about that product and being able to work with our friend as well to kind of further develop the message.
Totally. Guys, I mentioned this at the beginning, but like I have a lot of admiration for what you're doing for the industry. I feel like it's people like you two and what you guys are doing for your stores that it helps make a good name for everything surrounding automotive, from the dealer to the customer, and especially like with what you guys are doing to be a responsible vendor and make sensible marketing for the dealerships. And it's like it in the reputation that it generates and the feeling that the customers have is like evidence of what you guys are doing. So I appreciate you guys coming here and agreeing to have a conversation. And if dealers want to reach out, or other vendors want to reach out, if there's openings, I imagine you guys are busy, but what's a good way to get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, so first we'll just say, well, thank you for those kind words, Andrew. And kind of in the words of a former GM of ours and a close friend, it's nice to be part of the Mutual Admiration Society. So kind of right back at you as far as kind of how you guys handle and work with dealerships at Dealer OMG. So we really appreciate and respect what you guys are doing as well. Kind of with that, Justin, I'll let you kind of answer Andrew's question about how to get in touch with us, or how dealers can get in touch with us.
Yeah, I mean, they could just simply shoot us an email. It's Justin and Ben at gowithagile.com. Would probably be the easiest way to get in contact with us. Justin and Ben at gowithagile.com, or our website, gowithagile.com.
Love it. Well, guys, thanks a ton.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, our pleasure. This has been a lot of fun. This was our first podcast for Justin. We mentioned earlier we've done it. Fortunate enough to do a number of kind of live presentations and some other webinars throughout the years, but this is the first podcast of its kind. So appreciate you inviting us on and letting us do this with you guys.